Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of supercharging my Barra Burnout car on this here Goofy. In the last video we covered pulling all this down. As you see, I've still pulled down, so I haven't got the head back. Unfortunately, the valves in the head and the valve seats for the exhaust were busted or something. I don't remember what he said. I was on the phone with him while I was at work, and yeah, so the exhaust valves and seats, he has to be machined and get new valves, so he's doing all that for me. He's doing me a big favor. But off camera I did a few things. I did start recording this video already. What I did was I was doing all this fuse box and lumen stuff. So this has all our fuses for switches. So I don't know if anyone might have seen back when I had 3 poor quality fuses. These relays sat kind of dodgily there, with the wires going bloody everywhere. But now I've got this beautiful fuse box from Temu. It's actually pretty good quality, although it was wired wrong on the inside, so I had to rip all that out and redo it. I didn't want to do none of that on camera. Like, I started recording it, didn't like it, so yeah, I skipped all of that. Decided to do it off camera and got rid of that footage that I've already made. And yeah, so I used all this Haltech sleeve harness. If you saw the introduction, I've got a lot of this stuff, which looks beautiful. It's all I don't think it provides any protection. I mean, I'm sure it adds another layer to something, but yeah, no, it looks great. Makes everything a lot prettier. And the addition to that was that there switch panel. So that all works now, although the starter I cannot test yet until I get all the loom back together. Yeah, no, that's all done. And I have this old piece of junk. This old ugly trim bit. Yeah, so in this video we're going to focus our attention on, excuse the mess, we're going to focus our attention on these here engine mounts. So these are tough mounts. I think I explained it in the introduction video. So the reason why I went tough mounts, you can also get rod shop mounts. They're pretty much the same. The reason I got these is a lot more tougher, pun intended. So you've got these stock ones that are like soft rubber that will they bust up real easy, especially when you're doing the stuff I'm doing. Got a little visitor. But these are good. I've been recommended these. I was going to get solid engine mounts, but that'd just be too rough because I want to drive it on the street, which would be too rough to drive. Yeah, it just wouldn't be preferred. So we've got these tough mounts. We're going to mount them today and hopefully work out the oil cooling. So we've taken off the oil filter and sandwich plate, the old one. I'm going to put a new one on. I haven't yet figured out much of it because I need more fittings and stuff. So that's that. So it has a redirection. So instead of it just going straight through to the filter and back out, it redirects itself out of there, back in it, etc. Yeah, so before I start yapping too much, I'll cue in that intro and I suppose you can start moving along with one or two of these things. I've got the brace ready and swap out these engine mounts.
This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Alright, like I said, welcome back to the channel. Jesus. I'm going straight into our engine mount. So we've got this dodgy setup here. And this is like an engine suspension device. I don't remember the name. had a name at some point. This suspends your motor when your engine or the motor mounts are off, or for any other thing you need to be doing. It's got this dodgy strap here, hopefully it doesn't give way and absolutely demolish stuff. But I'm going to kick straight into the engine mounts. So when doing these engine mounts on a Barra, don't quote me, but I think some of the earlier Falcons are the same. We have here a 13mm bolt that goes all the way through that K-frame, and an 18mm nut on the top here. It's easier here now because I don't have the intake, the big ugly intake plenum, or the head or anything in the way, so I can get straight access to it. So this is a good time to do it now. So if you're at home wanting to do this, I mean, a little bit of a learning curve, but I'm going to start off with those ones, because if we pull that one out and lift the motor up, that one can just spin and be a pain in my ass. So, get the, oh, rattle gun broke. Get the socket off the rattle gun. Bear with me. There we go. Yeah, kick straight into taking those ones off with chrome sockets on the rattle gun. Absolutely no problem. Always feels good being able to take that one off with a rattle gun. You're never able to fit anything in here. Angled spanner in there dodgily. Now we can start lifting the motor up. So here we go with that. Let's skip this part. Alright, here we go. Engine's up. Took a bit of convincing, but she's up. Next is those bolts down there. We can get them out, and then the engine mount should just come straight off in a perfect well, at least. So, get straight in there. At least the nut will be loose then. Straight in there. And then, I'm trying to set this GoPro up. That's good enough. Undo this nut on the back, pull the bolt out, make sure you don't lose them. Be a bad day if you lost them. Bloody trans lines. Move this out of the way. So, like I was talking about, these are they're not as tough. So these are, they've got oil filled ones, so this one's already starting to crack and damage and stuff like that. So these are poo, and we don't want them, but we do need to get that off as well, because that's how the tough mounts mount. We'll do the same on this side, so they go straight through the frame there. Set this aside, now we know where we put it. The nuts are there. We take this big boy off. So then we got that, same as the other one. So now we just need to pair them up with these little friends. These don't have locating pins, which is great, so that's how they mount up. So this locates into that little hole there, same on this side, little hole, and then that just mounts under it. So I'll get these put together and then we'll slap them in. Alright, here we have it. It's 10 or 15 minutes later, because the bottom nut for one of these were tighter than like head bolts. Like, it's insane. But now we can finally mount them. So first things first, obviously these nuts here, that doesn't need to go on straight away, so we take them off and just locate it on there. Chuck them in a well-known place. Obviously we don't need those factory nuts no more. These are nylock, so these are better. nylock nuts, if you're unfamiliar. Basically designed, I'll show you one, a bit of nylon in there. So once you put it, obviously it's smaller than the thread, so once you screw that onto a thread, that's going to put some resistance. You'll force it onto the thread, obviously, not by hand, with no bolts. You'd be very lucky to be able to do that. We have insane grip strength. It'll lock onto the bolt, so once you've tightened it up, there's not a good chance it's going to vibrate loose, purely because that nylock nut is, one, a vibration densener, or I don't know the word, or it's like holding the bolt, or the stud in this case. But anyway, let's chuck these absolute units in. It even looks prettier. Grab us our ugly factory bolt. Thank you, Ford Australia, for your very, very poor quality equipment. Bada bing, bada boom. And then, if we can see on the back here, that little stud. Use my imagination to find out where the fucking thing is. That's not it. No, that was it. Not doing too well. That's easier if I'm not holding a GoPro. And if you're enjoying the video so far, chuck a like and subscribe. Obviously we want to see more of these supercharging the burnout car videos, and obviously there are more to come. Once we get the head back, we can start putting on some of the fun things, not this sort of boring stuff. Yeah, this, like I said in the start of the video, it's why I didn't video the wiring, because, I mean, you probably don't want to see that, it's quite boring. I could run through it, but even then, I wouldn't want to watch it. But, here we go, so second one on, same goes, nutter in the back. Come on, I'm using the camera to hold it. And bang, he's threaded on there. See you guys there. So now I'm going to drop this engine down onto that, and then we'll get straight on to tightening them up, and then wherever else we go. That's it. Took a bit of convincing and shoving and yelling, but she's on now. Now all there is obviously these nylock washers, nylock nuts. Chuck these bad boys in. Grab us our roller gun. Take old faithful socket off. Grab these here in 9mm, 19mm, not 9mm. Bam. Bang. Tough mounts, engine mounts. So, like I said before, these are to stop the motor from moving a lot, because with that supercharger, big fat one that we would have seen in the introduction video, it's quite heavy, and on Barras obviously it's going to sit on the side, not in the middle of the motor, so I'm running the risk of the motor's wobbling too much, possibly dropping the supercharger, snapping off the plenum. So that's why I've got a few things that we'll see soon when I get to that part. But so far we're just working with what we can, and this was a beautiful time to do a job like this. Well, we can start on with oil cooling. So I have this here sandwich plate. You can get these at super cheap, Repco, wherever basically. This is an oil redirection one, so it's not standard. with the correct adapter. So I'll show you how that all goes on. But first let's run down to the other parts we have for the oil cooling. So we have these two here coolers, obviously, small radiators, fittings and stuff. These are all AN. Sorry about the mess, just stripped the caravan. These can go like in there once I've cut that intercooler, dodgy intercooler bracket off. In there somewhere, possibly. See how it mounts. But in the meantime, I still need to get hose for this. I've lost the hose that I bought for it and I got the wrong fittings. So in the meantime, we can put this doohickey on. So you always want O-ring up, because when you put your oil filter on, you'll screw onto that and seal on that with the oil filter standard thread or O-ring. So oil filter up, and this is a mock-up, or it's a mimic the stock oil filters little thread there. So if we just slap this on, all you have to do is hold it there. Nothing special, because I did it wrong. But here we go. Sandwich plate added. So, like I showed you just before, so we'll have these, this has a redirection so the oil comes into the housing, out one of these, goes wherever to the coolers, and then it comes back in. Yeah, I might run a higher risk of higher oil pressure, but I will be changing the oil. So Goofy usually runs 25-50, but I'm moving on from that now. But yeah, there you have it, the sandwich plate, that's what it's called, stuttering a bit. So your standard oil filter, I'm not going to put this back on and show you, but your standard oil filter will just screw back onto that like normal. Tighten it by hand like normal. You can tighten your sandwich plate if you so wish to, but don't think it's necessary. But yeah, I'll try to find some AN hose, see if we can't get something started on that. But yeah, no, we'll skip to that then. Skip for 20 minutes and I've mounted these together. So I've decided instead of having them 1, 2, I'll just have them as a block and then that next to it. So that just makes it cleaner. This way I can make that easy, and I took the liberty out of making that off camera. All of this is tight and done as good as I think I have. I haven't done cutter hose much. I usually do PTFE, but when I get more of it I will do some on camera, so some of you guys at home can learn, or just see how it goes together generally. But now this is just about ready to go on. I have to find a way to mount it first. Put this down. Stay. Alright, set my ass down, and then slip him in. So I haven't yet decided much on where I should or how I should, but it could go something like that in there. It's not the cleanest jobby, but that way there's still room for hiding that dodgy JB weld job. No, I'll still have to use that. No, get more hose, work it out, and go from there. Alright, now moving on to our electric water pump. We got a Davies Craig EWP 150. These are pretty cheap and good quality. A bunch of AN20 fittings. So these are all -20 cutter hose fittings, and then we got this Barra block off plate for electric water pump specifically. So I'm out there, and I've already ground some screws down to suit it perfectly. Well, I'll mount him up. Grab some silicone gasket goo. And we'll mount him up for you. Alright, now with this, you need to use a proper gasket or some gasket goo, but you really need gasket goo. So it's a 9, nice bead, not too much, not too little. I want to go around the bolt holes as well. It's not going to hurt. And just like that. Always disengage your caulking guns, otherwise it will just keep pumping to make a mess or waste your stuff, or both, whatever you prefer. And we're just going to stick this unit straight on there. And we'll use it like that. Sorry about the noise, old man's fucking... the old man is making stuff. Alright, now grab this little doohickey. This is a Boss-16 to a flare, the male flare -20. So the Davies Craig pump and this block off plate, they both come with -16 holes standard, which I figured -16 probably won't be enough for a constantly being hot burnout car. So I took the liberty into investing in -20, and the stuff costs a lot. It's about 560 bucks, I think, I spent on just 4 fittings and a meter of hose. So there we go, he's on there. Now we've got big braided boy. This stuff is an arse to work with. If it's obvious enough, just based on its size, its sheer girth. All I'm putting this on here now for is just so I can see roughly where I'd mount that water pump. So, it's kind of weird angle for the GoPro, it's fisheye. So we'll cut it like there, and then we'd have that, this guy, the pump would mount there, and then we'd have bugger all hose once that's kind of on there, if you know what I mean. So I might just commit and draw a little line on the hose from our top down view. Grab me a permanent marker, and we're back. We can go roughly there, we'll make a plate up, and then I'll look at the top down view. I reckon I'll cut a little extra off. Here's a cut. It's not the prettiest, it's not the straightest, but it'll do the job. It's quite a big hose, so you've got a bit of work around with them. Bash this on with a mallet. Because these are very tight. So it'll get on a little bit, but then just about stop. My trusty whacker. And you just bash it on. just like that. Right, so what I like to do as well is I like to lube it up a little. Bit of oil, like good oil. And then we move our attention to the vise. Just like that. I always like to put a bit of shirt or something around it. Stick it in the sleeve. Stick this part out. Just cover that hex part because I do not yet have, it's on the way, but I do not yet have those nylon vice grip things for AM fittings. This is just like the nylon grip vice teeth things. It's just for what do you call it? So you don't scratch it. And this guy just pops straight in. The lube makes it much easier. You twist. So that'll push it, bring it through. And it pushes it sort of out and up against the bottom face. That's a lot smaller than the outer or the inner part of the fitting. So when it pushes it, it grabs a good grip on that, makes it a good seal. So now that that's gotten pretty firm, take them off. Bam. Gonna have fittings that are now impossible to turn. Now we're back at the car. Again. First things first. And this big ugly fitting. What's the thread on? Just like that. Cool. Bit of a tight squeeze, purely because it's a little longer to get it perfect. I don't have all the right tools to get it closer to perfect. Just work with what we have. There we go. We've just about fully mounted our electric water pump, and then these wires can probably tuck if there's a gap. Straight through it onto here. It wants to come free. So we go. Hidden wires. It's just about mounted up. There we go. We'll go to wiring that now. I'll probably skip most of that because it's not entirely fun, but yeah, there we go. There's our water pump. All right, it's a little later in the evening. I did end up going to get more fittings and hose for the oil cooling. I've started that already, so it just runs here They're going to have 2 bends, but you can barely see that. Runs to there, it's going to have 2 bends. Now that one has one on it, or 2 90-degree angles. But I only ended up getting 1, although, yeah, the guy got it off, messed up the order, and I didn't check, so that's on me. Got the water pump done, got those engine mounts in, and yeah, I've been messing around with how I'm going to run the belt, so I have to have an aircon there as an idler pulley, unfortunately, so it's not going to be prettiest, but who cares. Yeah, oil cooling works. I just need to get myself the oil pressure switch, and then it should be all good in the hood then, once that's all in. But yeah, I have a mate coming over soon. Oh, shit. Might help with some of this, or we might just mess around. But yeah, so I might just end that video there. So if you enjoyed it, like it, share it, chuck me a subscribe if you want. Yeah, so that's part 2 of supercharging the Barra build. I'm getting closer and closer every time. So, well, have a good one, take care, on to the next one.